is a typical question I get a lot of questions about. When should you get in the trend and when should you get out? We're going to talk about that today. But before we do that, I want to say thank you to everybody who purchased our new software, which is right here in the corner. Right here, you can clearly see before you take a trade, whether you should be in the buyer's position or seller's position. So thank you guys for doing this. We released that this last week. It's only $100, you know, and it comes with that indicator and another setup and a free trading system. So it's just $100 for you guys. But we have been sending thousands of dollars to different organizations. As a matter of fact, we just sent a bunch of money over to Invisible People this morning, which is for homeless people out of LA. But we've been able to send money over to Yemen, to Ethiopia, to just many, many companies, including one for Feeding America, Feeding the Poor. So we're just being able to touch lives thanks to you guys purchasing our new software. Is called the Too Easy System. Just go to our website. It's the last tab at the end, and it's only $99. We kept it cheap for you guys because we really want to continue to raise money for these other organizations around the world, these nonprofit organizations. And if you think we're scamming, then just go ahead and call them up. Feeding America, what's the other one? Unheard Cries. That's the name of the company. It's called Unheard Cries. And they're supporting all these other people who's in war-torn countries, such as Yemen, Ethiopia, and everybody else, that they're having tremendous starvation situations, and it's not even being broadcast on the news. So we're choosing to do it ourselves to help raise money to do that and support those, along with Invisible People. And you can visit their website, invisiblepeople.tv, and see the homeless people. As a matter of fact, I just had a conversation this morning via email with the owner. His name is Mark. For that company. So thank you guys for what you're doing. Number two, I want to send a shout out to my Signals team. You guys are doing a phenomenal job spitting out pips every single week. Thank you, Miss Jenny, Mr. Elvis, and Miss Donna, and the other people behind the scenes. Thank you guys. So let's get to the topic today. Today we're talking about when should you stay in a trend and when should you get out. All right, have your pens ready to write, because I'm gonna give you some things to think about. Instead of just saying, okay, here's when you exactly get in the trend and stay in it, and here's exactly when you get out of it. That's not going to work for everybody. That's too simple of an answer. I want to give you some things to think about, because what happens is your personality plays a lot into whether you should be staying in the trend or not. So let's go and get this breakdown. Then at the end of this, I'm going to give you a strategy. Yes, a genuine strategy that I personally use every single week to take care of this problem. So let's get into it. Here we go. Number one, here's the pros and cons of whether you should hold a trend, stay in the trend, or get out. Here it is. Number one, let's go through the pros. Number one, that staying in a trend is perfect for people who need to travel or can't be in front of their charts. You work a full-time job, many hours, truck drivers, airline stewardess, pilots, whatever. Staying in the trend is a perfect way for you to make money. Okay, because you can get into a trend, but you don't have to keep watching it because you can't. Okay, so it's perfect for you. So that's a good thing. And we're going to get to the cons, so just hang tight. Number two, it gives you the ability to make more money with less trades. And here's what I mean if you're new to trading. That means scalpers like to trade in and out, in and out, in and out. Majority of scalpers take, a bunch of trades, 3 to 5 trades in a day. Okay, that's a lot of trading in a day. You, on the other hand, you don't have the time to do that. Okay, or you just don't want to do that. So therefore, you're going to be looking at the charts in a whole different way than a person who is scalping would look at the charts. This again is why a quick answer of, just stay in at this point and get out at this point. It's not going to work. It depends on what kind of strategy and what kind of trader you are. Are you a scalper, which means you're in it quick and you're getting out? Dip, dap, dip, dap. It's kind of like scalpers are like people who are jump ropers. You know how you have to jump rope, double dutch? Y'all remember that double dutch? And you in and out, you in and out, you in and out. Okay, that's a scalper. So therefore, that person's mentality, their patience level, everything about them is going to be totally different from a person who for an example, we have a lot of people even in our Super Easy Forex family, they work on the planes, okay? Meaning that they're a stewardess, or we have truck drivers. These people, they cannot look at the charts all the time. So they have to focus on where and how long to stay in the trend. So this is going to be helpful for you. Number three, you're learning to trade like the banks and institutions. When you learn how to trade with the trend and stay in the trend, you're learning to trade like the banks do. Now, here's a fascinating fact. And I had learned this from a guy who was doing a seminar up in London. And he had talked about, on a big scale, he was talking to a room of people, and he had talked about how the banks and institutions actually trade. So one of the things that he had talked about, he said that a lot of times the markets are more manipulated. Watch this. The markets are more manipulated on the shorter time frames because that's where they know the short retail traders tend to spend a lot of time on the short 5 minutes, 1 minute scalping, this and that. That's why you see a lot more manipulation on those time frames. But the higher the time frame, the smoother the ride. And he said that's where the institutions and everybody else plays on the normal level with the retail traders. So in other words, he said the retail traders have just as much advantage in the market as the banks and the institutions do when they start looking at the higher time frames, 4 hours and the daily time frames. Do you get what I'm saying? Sometimes weekly, but that's a little too far out for me and others. But mainly the 4 hour and the daily is a playing zone for those who want to ride the trend. So if you're trying to be a scalper, you're going to have a much harder time. Here's why. Let's get into the cons of it. If you have a scalper's mentality, trading the trend could drive you crazy. Here's why. Because number one, it requires patience. Now, am I saying that scalping is wrong or better than this, or is trading the trend better than scalping? Absolutely not. It just depends on who you are and your personality and your level of patience. So number one is patience. Do you have the patience to hold a trend? Do you get what I'm saying? Do you have the patience? Are you the double dutcher who's in and out, in and out, in and out, and then you talking about, oh yeah, but I want to ride the trend? Probably not. Probably not going to work for you. Why? Because it requires you to actually stop trading, sit back on your hands, and do nothing else. Well, that doesn't quite work for some people. Okay. Number two, here's the downside of holding the trend. And again, stick to the end. I'm going to give you a strategy that I use to fix both of these. And it works for me every single week. But here's number two, and here's the biggest one. When you're trend trading, and you're not a person who has the ability to mentally and emotionally detach from your charts, there's going to be a big issue for you, because that's the problem. The longer you're in the trade, the more you're worried about the trade. Please write that down. That's very, very important. The more you're in a trade, the more you're worried about the trade. In other words, that trade has just become a great distraction to you. You can't focus. You can't think straight. Watch this. You say, no, that ain't me, Uncle Pete. I bet you are, if you're an average trader. How many of you, and I want some honesty here, how many of you have actually taken a trade and you have the MT4 on your phone and you notice that every few minutes you're glancing at your phone, staring at the trade? Type amen in the box if that's you. Type amen. Type amen. I want to see who's going to tell the truth today. And if you're at home and you're watching this later, it's okay. You can type amen later. See, there we go. There we go. See, there we go. There we go. See, we got some truth up in here. I love when we tell the truth because we're retail traders. We're one big family. So it's not like we need to, make ourselves seem more inflated than the next person. It's just, hey, this is the truth. It happens. It happens to me. And that's why I'm going to tell you my solution at the end of this video. Okay, I'm going to give you exactly what I do so that you'll learn, okay, here's how I fix both sides of these problems. But we have to acknowledge the truth for what it is. It becomes a great emotional and mental stressor. So the very thing that should be putting money in your pocket, and a lot of times why people like to trade the trend and stay in it, is not only just for the additional profits, but it also has to do with the fact that I get to stay in the trend and not worry about taking another trade for a little while. But the problem is that that's not how it turns out. Because you're in that trend and you're seeing the fluctuations as it's going through the trend, It causes you great emotional stress every time it goes up and then comes back in your favor. It goes up and comes back in your favor. It goes up and you're riding the ups and downs emotionally and mentally, and you're exhausted because you're trying to hold on to the trade because you want, watch this, the greed word, more. Write that down. Because this whole topic is about greed. How much more greedy can I get on this trade? I know I set my stop loss and my take profit, but what if I can get more? And because of that greed question, it's causing you great emotional and mental stress. And so how do we fix this? All right, well, let's get rid of that. Let me give you my solution to what I do every single week. And I teach this to my students in class. And I hope they don't mind me sharing our little tip with you guys, our fellow retail traders. I will never give all our secrets here on YouTube, but I will give you a little something to think about. One of the things that I like to do, and I'll go in more detail when you join, but I actually have, I'll tell you the one tip. I won't give you the second one. The second one, you're going to have to join and you can pay for it, and I'll show you how to do it, which is really, really cool. Matter of fact, I just showed my little brother. He's been trading for a long time. And he's like, oh my God, I never knew you could do that. I say, yeah. But I'll tell you guys the general one first, okay? I'll just tell you the general one that anybody can do. You know, this is not a secret. You just didn't think about it. One of the things that I do, and I'm actually in some trades now that I'm holding over the weekend, they actually worked out very well. As a matter of fact, if you watch my video that I posted up just the other day, and it showed you Trading Made Easy, or whatever the title was, look at those trades. Okay, we took 5 trades, 4 out of 5 won. The only one that didn't win was USD JPY. It didn't lose, it didn't win. It just didn't budge. So I closed it out, right? But the ones, a couple of those that did work out, I think they have a potential to keep going for a little while. So what did I do? Here we go. Write this down. Very easy strategy. Open more than one position. Here we go. Just write this down. Open more than one position. And what you want to do is have the first position be your main position. In other words, if you're used to trading a standard lot, which means, $1.00, which is $1 per pip. $10 per pip or whatever. Okay, so basically what happens is that one will be your 1-to-1, meaning whatever your risk is, let's just say you set a stop loss for 33 pips. Then you want your take profit to be set at 33 pips on that first position. Okay. Now you come back with a second position, and it could be much, much smaller position. It could be a 0.10 or, 0.05 or something like that, or 0.25, whatever you decide to be as your second position. But the second position cannot be as large as the first position. Okay. Everybody with me so far? Type a number 10 in the box if you're with me so far. I want to make sure that I'm explaining this very clearly, because this is exactly what I do to resolve this is one of the ways. The other way, like I said, I'll teach you when you join. The other way is actually much, much easier, and it's a beast. That's why my brother was like, oh my God, I didn't know. Well, now you know. Okay. But anyway, so here's the point. Thank you for the 10s. I want to make sure I'm explaining it so everybody's on the same page, so we all know what to do. So the second position can be much, much smaller. Why do I want it to be much, much smaller? Well, there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, because when the first position hits the take profit and it was so much larger, the second position, let's just say the market, as you have experienced as traders, sometimes the market will turn around and go against you. Right after to hit a certain point and turn back around and go against you. In class, I actually explain why and how to avoid that, because it has to do with what I teach is called the ocean wave theory. Once you learn the ocean wave theory, you'll understand why that happens. But in the meantime, your smaller position, if it turns back up and hits the stop loss, you are not crying mad. Why? Because your first position was the larger one, and it captured so much profit until no matter what happened with the smaller second position, you still walk away with some form of profit. Okay? So the second position is what I call the runner. In other words, if the market just so happens to continue running, you don't feel left out. You won't feel like, oh man, I missed out. I could have got some more. See, you already took care of both ends of the spectrum. You locked in some profit on the first position, so you're feeling really good about the trade. You're feeling really good about your analysis. You're feeling good about yourself. Okay? But on the other half of you, the greed side says, but could I get more? Well, in order to fix that portion of you, you put on a second position that's much, much smaller, and therefore its impact, whether it wins or lose, won't take away from what the first position did. Number two, it allows you to stay in this trade a whole lot longer just in case it does continue to run. Do you get what I'm saying? So therefore, you fix your need for money and you fix your greed for more, all within just two simple trades. The first one is the main one, which takes care of your need. The second smaller position takes care of your greed. Please write that down. This is important. The first one, I will say it again, just to make sure everybody's with me on the same page. This is exactly what I do. I will take a first position to make sure that if it hits my immediate take profit, I feel good about myself and it takes care of my financial need. The second position is the smaller one, and it's just in case I don't want to miss out on the total run. Because what if it goes for 100 pips? What if it goes for 150 pips? What if it goes for 200 pips? I don't want to miss out on that. So therefore, what I do is I have the second smaller position, and it takes care of my greed. The first is my need. The second is my greed. Now, here's the last tip for you. The biggest thing that I do, y'all hear me? Hear me? I want to make sure that everybody's with me so far on the need and the greed position. Type in number 25 if you understood the need versus the greed position. I want to make sure I'm not going too fast so that you guys don't understand what I'm saying, because we're retail traders. We're a group, okay? Whether you're part of my family or not, we still are one big retail group, okay? And the banks, institutions, and everybody else just, everything is against us. So I'm teaching you in a way that as a team of retail traders, we can be successful. And what you're doing is you're taking care of that greedy side of you that's saying, what about more? See, you can simply take care of it. I'll give you another example. Maybe you don't trade standards yet because your account's too small. So the first position could be, let's just say, at 0.05. And then the second position can be at 0.01. So the 0.01, what you want to do is not be too quick. Watch this. Don't be too quick to move the 0.01 position stop loss into break even too quick, because in case it pulls back, you get tapped out real quick. What you might want to do, which is what I do sometimes, I simply leave the stop loss and take profit exactly where it is. Or better yet, on my second position, oftentimes I will leave the stop loss exactly where it originally was, and I just won't put a take profit on it. So in case it pulls back and does a double top or a triple top and retests these areas, I'm not stopped out because I never moved the stop loss. I just left it where it was. And oftentimes it will. It'll come all the way back, retest an area, but it didn't hit my stop loss and then turn back around and flow for another 100 pips. So you see, I don't really care. Watch this. The second position is the one that's so small, you don't care about it. Please write that down. That is the key factor to this. The second position has to be small enough to take care of the greed, but not big enough to cause you to be concerned about it. It has to be a position that you do not care about. Type in number 50 in the box if you understood what I just said. I'm teaching you exactly what you need to know this week. You need to know this. The second position cannot be a greedy position. It cannot be equivalent to the first position. It has to be smaller so that you don't care about it. Okay, good. I'm seeing the 50s. Okay, so we're all together. Great, great, great. So now, here's the final piece to the puzzle. When I have runners going, meaning the small positions are running, I don't even have, watch this, this is going to be huge for some of you guys. And it might freak your drawers off of you. Oh, what? Yeah, I'm saying it. I take my MT4 off my phone. Did you hear what I said? I don't even want it on my phone. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to be an absentee husband. Some of you guys are absentee husbands. You're absentee wives. You're absentee parents. because you spend more time staring at that trade than you do spending quality time with your family. Some of you guys, you're about to lose your job because you constantly staring at that phone and your boss keep catching you staring at that phone. And they think that you communicating with somebody or texting, and they don't realize you spending all that time watching that trade. So the smaller position has to be so small until you don't care nothing about it. Let me give you a better example. Because some of y'all don't believe fat meat greasy. Fat meat is greasy, by the way. Let me give you an example. You wonder why some of you guys were so much more successful when you were in a demo account than you were when you went live. And a lot of people assume, well, maybe there's more manipulation because, you know, when I switched over to a live account, Uncle P, as soon as I switched over to a live account, everything went bad. But when I was in the demo, everything was fine. Could it be possible that nothing changed? The charts didn't switch over and start moving crooked just because you switched to a live account or a demo. The charts are going to move whichever way they're going to move. This is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. You think the charts care about your little small demo versus live account? Now, this is not to say that some brokers don't do a little bit of manipulation with their spreads or whatever, but you're not going to see that vast of a difference between a demo and live. Then what actually changed? I will tell you what changed. And I have been saying this over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. The Bible is very clear. Even if you don't believe in the Bible, that's fine. The principles are still the same. I don't believe in Newton. I don't know who he is, never met him, but Newton's law, the law of gravity, he discovered gravity. He said the law of gravity is what comes up must come down. Okay, whether you believe it or not, jump off a building and see if he was lying. Well, the same thing happens in Forex. There is a law that the Bible describes that's going to happen to you when you're trading in Forex. And it clearly says where your treasure is, there where your heart, not the beating heart in your chest, your emotional heart. There where your emotions be also would be a better way of saying it. Wherever your money is, you're going to start feeling some kind of way. So it wasn't that the charts changed. It was you changed because you're feeling emotional about it. And now you're fiddling around with the trades. That is the reason why so many more people do so much better in demo accounts than they do live. Here's the reason why. Because you know when you enter a trade on demo, you really don't care about it. Why? Because you know it's fake money. You understand what I'm saying? Type in 100 in the box if you know I'm talking the truth. Come on now. Come on. We all know this. We just don't, we're not willing to admit it, but it's true. When we go live, as soon as you go live and put any amount of trade money on, you feeling some kind of, see, there goes to 100. See, I like to people who tell the truth. We feel some kind of way. Because we feel some kind of way, now we're tampering with the trade. Yeah, Derek, one more again. Yeah, one more again. That's right, one more again. That means, my grandmother taught me that it simply means once again. Okay, once again. One more again is, well, that's okay. Y'all get it. The point is that this is exactly why I'm telling you with the strategy I'm giving you, it has to be so small until you feel the same way about it that you did about your demo trade. You don't care. Which is why for me to control myself, my need plus my greed and the emotional stress of it, there's 3 steps. The first position is my need position. Big, large position, hit to take profit. Cool, I feel good. Second position is the runner, small enough until I take care of my greed of saying, but what if you can get more? Okay, the second one is taking care of that, but it's also small enough that if it hits my take profit or my stop loss, it doesn't really matter. I don't really care because it's so small, which leads to number 3. I am stressed out far less because the second position doesn't stress me out at all. It's so small, I don't care. So I don't need to have my MT4 on my phone staring at it every few minutes. And here's the truth, because I can hear it now. Some people are going to be deceptive and deceive themselves. Well, if that's the case, Uncle P, I can still have the small position on and leave it as a runner without taking the MT4 off my phone. No. Here's the truth. Truth is, because you've mentally conditioned to keep checking on your money, no matter how small the position is, you're naturally just going to keep checking over and over and over again. And so you're literally going to be a distracted human being from other things that you should be dedicating your time to. So don't deceive yourself. That's part of the problem in Forex and in trading. But more importantly, Forex is the largest. People lie to themselves so much. People are always on the internet. Who's the scammer? Is Uncle P a scammer? The truth is you're scamming yourself because you refuse to tell yourself the truth. You have an addiction. And the longer you've been trading with bad information and nobody helping you to see your sickness, you're scamming yourself. This is why I always say, put a number in there to make sure we're all on the same page telling the truth. The truth is, if you don't take that MT4 off your phone, you're even with the smallest of positions, you're going to still be staring at your phone just like you would have if it was the larger. Because you've conditioned yourself to do that. Only brand new traders who follow simple directions, hey, take this trade and then take the MT4 off your phone. They don't expect anything. They don't know. They just, okay. Like my daughter. I told you guys, matter of fact, congratulations and thank you for all of those who attended my live trading class with my daughter. She was the guest. Knows nothing about trading, and yet she has a hot win streak. And I told you guys, and she even admitted, when I asked her, hey, did you see this trade? What did she say? She said, no. I said, why didn't you see it? She said, oh, because my computer was turned off. I turned it off. See, she don't know no better. But if it was you, you would have known every minute, every tick that went by. You would have known about it because you're addicted to staring at that phone. So this is why the second position has to be small enough to you don't care, and you can take that MT4 off your phone and call it a day. You say, well, I got these perfect setups on my phone. Then just set it up again when it's time to get your MT4 put back on your phone later on. But take it off so you can give your mind and emotions a break. Honestly, some of you guys, you really need emotional and mental break. You're overly stressed over trading. And so this strategy here should be able to help you. Okay? So I'll repeat it one more time real quick and then we're done. How do you know when to stay in the trade? How do you know when it's the best time to stay in the trend? Oftentimes you won't know. You won't. So how do we fix this? Because how much longer to stay in the trade simply means how much more greedy can I get on this trade? Here's the fixture again for those who tuned in late, and we're done. Number one, open up a bigger position for your first position so that it is set to a 1-to-1 risk ratio, and therefore you can take care of your need to win a trade and pay bills. The second position takes care of your greed. And that one, you set the same stop loss as the first position, but it does not have, watch this, it does not have a take profit because you don't know how far it can go. Now, you can set one. You can set it to 1-to-3 risk ratio, 1-to-4, 1-to-5. I mean, it's totally up to you. Or you can just not have one at all and just see how far it can run. That's cool, okay? Cool. So, but it has to be small enough until you don't care about it. And number 3 is the big one. It has to be small enough till you feel comfortable taking the MT4 off your phone and no longer checking on it. Just go back tomorrow and see what's going on. And that's freedom of trading. Okay, you guys, share this video with other traders who you know need the help. And thank you guys for tuning in. And those who are part of the Super Easy Forex family, I'm so excited. I'll be talking to you guys in class like usual on Tuesday, so I can get to talk to you. You get to talk to me. We get to do our question and answer period. But I hope this video helps somebody because I know this is one big topic that everybody who trades always struggle with, and they don't really have a clear direction on what to do. So hopefully this can help. Thank you guys. Bye.